Star Wars. You know it? You know it at least. One of the biggest franchises in the world, despite the efforts of the owning company, and yet there are no games. To correct the lack of presence of Star Wars in the gaming market, we have 3 contestants. They'll give their ideas, one will win. This is Armchair Dev's Star Wars, Episode 2. Hello, I am Jedi Master Chris Wolfhard, and with me are our 3 contestants. Qui-Gon Dan from Gigaboots.com.
Why, hello there.
Obi-Wan Bob Nobi, also from Gigaboots.com.
Live long and prosper.
And Darth Agro from the Extended Universe.
Here I am.
We have 3 contestants. I'm going to go to each of them and get a elevator pitch of their game, and then we're going to dig into the meat of their proposals and find out what game will single-handedly fix all of Star Wars' franchise problems.
I can do it.
He'd win.
Yeah, nah, I'd win.
It's actually easy.
I'd Qui-Gon win.
We'll be starting with some questions to our contestants to get a better idea of their pitches, and a little later, we'll be seeing their idea and drawing of a new Sith Lord unique to their game. We're gonna start with Agro. You have 30 seconds from when you start talking.
The galaxy turns, regimes rise and fall, and wars rage, but there is only one irresistible force in the galaxy. Municipal bureaucracy. Become a member of the Coruscant Central Filing Nexus, the living hub of all paperwork at the heart of the galactic seat of commerce and government. Sort, forward, reject, edit, and straight up forge your way through an endless, evolving maze of city politics on a galactic scale. Keep the citizens happy, keep the city running, stay one step ahead of the Jedi and the Sith in the Coruscant paper trail.
And that's time.
Is anyone going to die of dysentery on the Coruscant paper trail?
Yes.
Oh no.
So I think I have a pretty good idea of what that game is. Very clever to time it right on top of the big streaming show that's also about bureaucracy.
Shit. Is that a thing?
Yeah, I'm like, that seems like an internal undercurrent of every streaming show.
Andor is about the evils of bureaucracy.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. No, pretend you meant that. Like, that was intentional.
And we're moving now to Dan.
Excellent.
Just like before, 30 seconds as soon as you start talking.
Why was Star Wars great? Because they were great movies. Why were they great movies? Because they're cinematic. Video games are huge. What's historically the most mainstream genre? Platformers. Gentlemen, we're going to combine these two to make a novel Star Wars experience that will encompass everything great about the original 3 Star Wars films, plus a little extra in a retro-style cinematic platformer presenting Eric Chahi's untitled Star Wars project.
And that's time. Let me look up who the you mean.
He's the creator of Another World. You know, Out of This World. The cinematic, he birthed Flashback.
I was wondering what cinematic meant. Now
you know what a cinematic platformer is, don't you?
For a second, I was like, Star Wars Uncharted. Dan really is eager to fix this franchise. It's like,
no. Here's the brilliance. It's nostalgia as seen through nostalgia.
Ooh.
Beautiful.
It's gonna be good. I'm looking forward to telling you more about it.
Well, that's Dan's pitch. It'd be a shame if that genre completely died due to mass market disinterest, but who knows? Maybe the rest of his pitch can bring it back. And lastly, we have Bob. 30 seconds, like always.
The richest man in the galaxy, Max Golden, has created a drug that can give anyone force powers. Is it real? Is it safe? These are the questions that MB, a Mandalorian bounty hunter with a mysterious past, wants answered. This pits her against rival bounty hunters, genetically enhanced creatures, and freshly made force users. as she chases Golden's operations across the star system. Star Wars Sith Hunters is a anime-inspired, fast-paced, third-person shooter where Mandalorian gear and force powers propel the players through action-packed stages.
You're right. That's time. I got the gist, though. Now, is it Sith Hunters?
Yes.
Okay, because Sith is still a Star Wars thing. It stands for the Confederate Independent Systems, Confederacy of Independent Systems. That was the other side in the Clone Wars.
Bob, I can't decide if your pitch is more Philip K. Dick or Ayn Rand. Like, there's just vibes of both to it. Is it real? It is a scam. Is it a scam that suckers deserve to be getting with? Find out. I'm just imagining the before and after Alex InfoWars.
Yes, and then Alex shows shots of after he's had it.
I hope this isn't your drawing, but I'm just imagining, look at me before, now I'm a Sith. It's just, I'm really red.
He has like really faded looking Darth Maul tattoos.
They're like wrinkled.
Well, now I'm going to go to each contestant and ask them a couple questions and hopefully get a better idea of what their game is all about. We'll start with Dan.
Fantastic.
Dan, is your game going to have really terrible feeling lightsaber fencing?
Some might frame it like that. I would like to frame it as beautiful animation stitched through interactive gameplay. The moments of the original 3 Star Wars films will look amazing with these flat shaded polygon sceneries. It will look fantastic. It will have all the sounds recreated on an Amiga.
Oh.
Yeah, we're going to... Well, we want it... The idea is that it's nostalgia as seen through nostalgia. You will literally never see more pride. This will bring tears to Star Wars fans' eyes as they get to see these amazing set pieces and moments from those original films remade in this visual style in such a completely self-serious way that is majestic.
Okay, I got a lot of good information about that. Feels bad to control. Runs on evil hardware. Aimed at man children. Okay, I think I got a good idea. Next, we're gonna move over to aggro.
Yes, sir.
Now, aggro, is your game gonna have like an ongoing narrative, or is it gonna be more like Papers, Please, where you're solving these small puzzles through the context of bureaucracy?
So interestingly, the answer is yes to both. On the one hand, the top of the design document literally says Papers, Please, but it's Star Wars.
Okay, I've got that.
On the other hand, rather than being basically a giant downer, this one is more about... So yes, there is a large overarching story, but it's really more the story of how your actions affect the global city of Coruscant through the game by keeping several city trackers like economic production, galactic prestige, poverty, education, government approval, happiness index, and crime rates, and how those evolve the current city state as you move through 6-week chunks of time.
Okay. I think I understand what kind of game this is. I'm kind of digging it. Bob.
What's up?
What genre is your game?
It's a third-person shooter. Kind of think like a mixture of Vanquish with a jetpack.
Okay, so you're going through linear stages. It's not like Metro. It's not like a single.
No. This is very much
area.
a traditional, like, think kind of like Uncharted, where like you go to a level, it's progresses in a linear fashion, then you go to another level.
Hey, that was a misconstruence of my idea.
And then sometimes you'll have cool mini games like going around your speeder bike or flying in a Star Fox-like level behind your character using a jetpack.
Oh. Okay. Back to aggro.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is this game gonna have a pass-fail structure to the gameplay, or is it gonna be more like, man, you tanked Coruscant's economy, and now you're on the bad economy route? Like, will the story branch as a result of your actions, or it'll just be like, you fucked up, you're being executed?
So there is an ending of the game you get by basically running out the clock with a stable enough civilization to keep functioning. But there are also multiple endings where you are arrested or executed or exiled, or ending up leaving your life of municipal bureaucracy to join either the Jedi or the Sith. It takes place during the end of the Sith Jedi War, where Coruscant changed hands a couple of times. So you do have 3 main phases if you run the whole game, where it is under the control of the Senate, then the Sith, then the Jedi Order directly after they retake Coruscant.
Okay. And next, Dan.
Oh, what's up?
You hinted at this before, but I just want full clarification. Is this just an adaptation of the first 3 movies, or is there going to be additional bonus content, or will we purely be going through the set pieces of the original trilogy?
So we're going with the original trilogy of films, and the experience of playing through it will be like an amazing, emotional, powerful supercut of those films, getting the highlights of the most cinematic moments. And then, as this committee suggested, we needed a new Sith. We needed a design for a new Sith. So there is extra content in order to meet the needs of this committee that takes place right after episode 6.
Ooh.
Exciting.
Ooh.
There's
Like how soon right after? Does he come out of the woods at the Ewok party?
it is an immediate backslide into this.
I want this to feel like 7th Gen DLC.
This features what may be, because it is unclear, the most powerful Sith Lord seen up until this point in Star Wars. His name is Dip Shi. I am excited to tell you more about Dip Shi later.
I'm sure. And lastly, let's go on to Bob. Bob, tell me a little bit about the main character. You gave me a little bit, but I'd like some more.
Okay, so she's a undercover Mandalorian who's not really a Mandalorian. It's a secret through the first half of the game, and then we do a big epic reveal and we find out it's actually Mara Jade.
Whoa! Can I resign?
Okay, so she's undercover as a Mandalorian.
Yes. She's doing this as a sting operation, actually secretly run by Luke Skywalker.
Oh,
and this is all major mid-game reveals.
This goes all the way to the top.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I have to give Bob credit. Having a female Mandalorian take off their helmet and be Mara Jade is exactly something modern Star Wars would do.
I wish.
Yeah, no, having watched all the Mandalorian, every time they get caught up in all the Mandalorian stuff is like, dude, I just wanted the cool guy doing cool stuff in the galaxy. What are you doing? That's why she cannot be a Mandalorian, really, because that stuff sucks.
Oh, this is controversial. Thank God we're not selling your pitch. We're selling the game you're pitching.
Look, you're making a new Star Wars game that's a third-person shooter. Yeah, I want force powers, too.
Never mind. I get to question you later.
Well, now that we have some information about each of the contestants' pitches, I gave them a requirement for their game and instructed them to draw that requirement. So now we move on to that segment. Their prompt was, their game must include an original Sith Force user. So we're going to get some grand Darths. And since it's already been teased, let's start with Dan.
This character, this mysterious figure, which I would like to know, this game, completely no spoken dialogue.
Oh.
We're focused on the cinema of the shots and the grace of Star Wars. This will be a mysterious figure. People will not be able to really know what's with this man, but he's someone unknown up until this point. See, back on Tatooine, there's been rumblings of a Sith Lord. Luke doesn't know what the deal with that is. It's very mysterious. So he has to go back to Tatooine to investigate. And what he runs into is Dip Shi. Dip Shi is both a failed cloning experience and a failure of a human, as he tried to infiltrate both sides at different points and undergo horrible genetic mutations and alterations in order to and modifications in order to pass as either side poorly. As you can see, Dip Shi is is someone who thought he could pass for Darth Maul at one point. The ghost of Obi-Wan is horrified. He's warning Luke, this is too strong a foe. This is the scariest man I have ever seen.
He looks like you stretched Darth Maul's textures over a Gamorrean.
He's so sad.
Is he sad or is he just lumpy?
Unclear, I guess.
That's the part that makes it such a menacing moment. You're completely taken by his gaze in this moment because you know he's not the same person as Darth Maul. He's not the same proportions at all. And he has that tattoo on his left shoulder that tells you this man doesn't really know how to be sneaky.
Man, I'm just like, there's not any dialogue. How are we even going to introduce all of this?
No, this is the shot.
Baffled.
This is the first shot where you see him.
This is it.
Bask in the presence.
Yeah, no, now keep in mind, I couldn't, since it's a still image, I couldn't really get it going. But imagine Obi-Wan in the background, he's flickering in and out, he's translucent blue, like the end of episode 6. And he's flickering a bit and he's bawling, he's crying that this is the scariest guy he's ever seen.
Right? Come on, Bob. This guy shows up on screen. You're not asking, who is this or where did he come from? You're thinking, oh, I need to get out of here. Where's his neck?
Exactly.
Honestly, I'm just thinking, is he a threat or should I console him?
You can try consoling him. I'm sure the death animation will be fantastic. Dip Shi is the most powerful person, presumably, based on his stature at very least.
Can he do like pulls down a Star Destroyer like Star Killer could?
He imploded a city.
Okay.
It's unclear how.
Ooh.
Yeah. You don't know if that was a force power or if he had something like the Star Wars equivalent of a Davy Crockett.
Mm-hmm.
I think people will be thrilled when they finish episode 6's story and go straight into this.
Yes, I certainly think it'll produce a strong reaction, if nothing else.
You should be like, yeah, then he eats the ghost of Obi-Wan.
What, are we getting into the Force Unleashed now? We already did that one.
He turns backwards with his right arm and siphons the ghost.
I forgot they did that. That's incredible.
They did that?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, it's in one of the DLCs.
Oh, okay.
where that are just Star Killer murders all the canon characters,
including ghosts.
Yeah, he throws Obi-Wan's ghost into the afterburners of the Millennium Falcon and just disintegrates it.
Oh,
sure, that tracks.
Sure, why not?
We're moving on to aggro. I am so interested in how you are implementing this Sith Force user into your bureaucratic simulation game.
Oh, God.
Well, I'm glad you asked, Chris. During the second main phase of the game, when the Sith army has direct control of Coruscant, you have a lot of Sith Lords basically wandering around the city, giving completely insane, openly malicious, contradictory orders, dictums, and proclamations for how the government should run. And you don't really have an avenue for questioning them, or you just get cut in half with a lightsaber. So the central filing nexus has a really tough time pressure valving this situation. And one of the ways that they figured out to do it was they have in their possession the will of deceased Sith Lord Darth Ragion that, unfortunately, the day it came into possession of the central filing nexus, became completely obscured with coffee stains. So unable to read any of the contents of the actual will, they just sort of, anything that really needs to be done, they append in their files as part of the last will and testament of Darth Ragion to give it the full force legal weight of a document stemming from a Sith Lord. They refer to internally as Darth Testament. And every time you try and put something as being part of this will, the internal math kicks in and decides how likely it is that Darth Ragion would have dictated something about this. And every time you add it, you get a negative modifier to the internal roll before someone goes, wait a minute. That sounds really stupid, and breaks into the central filing nexus with a lightsaber to hunt down whoever's responsible for the forgery.
This is brilliant. This is an amazing mechanic. I have never... Malicious compliance as a game mechanic is amazing. But I'm sure just as amazing will be Bob's original Force user.
Yeah. I've already talked about him a little bit. His name is Max Golden. He is, as I previously stated, the richest man in the galaxy. Also, he's a shaved Wookiee. He's shaved himself.
Oh, I don't like that at all.
I want to thank you for making my art not the most repugnant art this episode. That isn't easy for me to get.
No problem.
Shaved himself?
Yeah, he shaved himself because he wants to be more human. He wants people to believe he is not a Wookiee.
So,
because he was a Wookiee slaver.
now I just want to make sure. I want to make sure that those are like dark Sith energy cracks, not blood from him shaving poorly. Right?
Yes, those are
Okay.
Well, it's bleeding a little bit because that's power. The power of the Kyber crystal is shoved in his chest, going through there.
I see that. Okay.
Okay. Now, I presume his staff is his version. He has some kind of lightsaber spear.
Yes.
Is the thing on his back like a shield that whirls around, or is it some sort of Death Stranding-esque satellite dish?
It is, in fact, a shield that whirls around, kind of like that guy in Metal Gear Solid Revengeance.
Okay, like Sundowner. Okay.
Yes. His name is... His Sith name is Darce Calvo, which is Spanish for bald.
Yeah, I noticed he intentionally went for the Hulk Hogan there.
He's not just a Sith, he's a capitalist Sith.
That's a powerful antagonist.
A capitalist Sith. Just all one word. Oh my God, Bob.
It is the injection that turns people into Sith is called the Jedi juice.
Oh, okay. Quick question about your character here, Bob. Does he know that nobody's buying that six-pack?
He doesn't need your approval for his
okay. Yeah, that's what I figured he
his
would
entire
say.
body is obviously let's say cosmetically altered. You see how he's put in the human teeth and replaced his nose with a golden nose?
I saw the golden nose. I was wondering about the teeth. I was like, do I just not remember something about how Wookiees look?
I mean, I had a question. Like, I'm not thoroughly familiar with all the natural coloring variations of Wookiees. I see he's left two distinct zones of Wookiee fur, unless that's a shawl he's wearing.
Yes, that is just a shawl of presumably Wookiees he's killed.
He shaved all of his fur off and is wearing the fur of another. Jesus Christ!
This guy's a bad guy. Could you tell?
This is like if Cruella de Vil was herself a Dalmatian.
Yes.
Like we had the world's most fucked up wishbone situation going on. Well, that was a lot. Next, our contestants are going to question one another. They might have insights and curiosities that I am not privy to, so we will get more information from them ruthlessly interrogating each other. Aggro, you have the floor. One question each.
Dan, video games.
Hey, what's up?
You are proposing a sprawling cinematic video game narrative experience covering all three of the original trilogy.
And then some.
So, and then some indeed. The conceptual problem I'm running into here is how you pitch a value proposition like this, where 90% of your game is not going to be seen because it's being made by a madman who famously makes impossible to play games, and 95% of your player base is going to be murdered by sand people in like the first 3 screens.
Well, that's the thing. The amazing thing here is that this will be Eric Chahi's easiest game.
Oh.
Even Paper Beast is a harder game to play than this one. Now, we will have more challenging modes for people to play on to feel like real gamers, right? And we give them Jedi coded names, you know? we name the highest difficulty like Darth Beastly. And just be like, this is for people who beat the game, and they're like, that was too easy, and then we immediately call them out on it. It's like, this is you want this one.
Darth Beastly.
Yeah, Darth Beastly. That's what
I don't like that.
You can spell it weird if you want. We're really into that
Seems
around here.
Very thematically appropriate. A watered down, altered version of a thing commemorating a watered down, altered version of a thing. Bob, video games.
Mm-hmm.
You seem to be making a Star Wars third person shooter.
Yeah.
In full defiance of what seem to be the dictums of fate and destiny. How do you plan to finish this game before it gets canceled?
Now, this is a tricky one. We're making this with a multiplayer mode is a separate mode. So we can keep showing the investors that mode. We're hoping, it doesn't seem to work out that well in general, but we're hoping that's enough to keep the investors off our back. Be like, look, there's horde mode. They can play it with their friends.
So you're developing this parallel separately from the main game?
Right.
Okay, so you have an entire additional team also working from. Okay, I gotcha. That is. I feel reassured personally that this game will totally launch under budget and sell adequately. That's you set all of my apprehensions to rest. Thank you very much.
That was kind of cruel. Bob, you're up next.
Okay, Dan.
What's up?
I need to know. This is the original trilogy.
Yeah. Plus a little bit extra.
Plus a little bit. Right,
Okay,
right.
just making sure no one forgets that part.
But I need to know,
Uh-huh.
does this include the special edition content, or is it back to the original? Like, is this going to be the definitive way to see Star Wars now?
It is. Yeah, no, this will be the definitive way to see Star Wars. It's going to transform as what those films always were to the people who love Star Wars when they play it. It will not have a musical number with CGI nightmares.
Okay, so Go Yowza won't be there. Got it.
No.
Now, this is a follow-up question. This we have to find this out. Dan, who shoots first in your game?
Our game lingers on Han's face, so you know he would have done it regardless. And then he does it. This isn't a reactionary thing from him. You can see in his face, it is the most Harrison Ford face you've ever seen, this still shot.
Oh my gosh.
You know?
In the Another World art style where you do the close-up where the face has all the detail and he just fucking winks.
Yeah. You get a few good frames of flat shaded polygons forming a 2D wink. That's how it's going to play out. In Eric Chahi's untitled Star Wars project. We don't have the hubris to think we can name the Star Wars things for Disney. We know better. They'll name it whatever.
Okay, Aggro.
Yes, sir.
I've never played Papers, Please.
Neither have I.
Great.
Chris, I'm just curious at this point. Have you?
Nope.
I'm the only Okay. All right.
What kind of graphics does it have? Is this like a fully 2D thing, or is it like 3D?
Oh, yes. This is a very 2D. It is a more on the realistic side, but hand-drawn style of art. It goes screen by screen. Like it basically, you've got a menu of a fully realized desk. You've got a very limited amount of like point and click movement through a couple of offices, like visual novel-esque style, where you've got character portraits that pop up with text boxes and cutscenes that play out basically as like full panel motion comics, like that one where you push Darth Testament too far and somebody comes in to dice your ass with a red lightsaber. That just full screen CGs of a door getting kicked in and like a giant Sith with huge shoulders and a lightsaber gripped in his meaty fist stalking toward your desk, pissed off because he wasn't allowed to add a garage onto his like giant Coruscant sky tower apartment because Darth Ragion was apparently really, really insistent that new zoning ordinances not be enacted after a certain date.
I understand this. I have to side with Darth Raytheon.
Darth Raytheon with his wireless earbuds.
Yes.
And finally, Dan.
Aggro.
Roger.
Now, I hear so much about this bad route ending where you're just absolutely murked by people who knew the guy so much better than you. Are there actually any other ways to game over?
Yeah, you can be caught forging documents or intentionally breaking civil regulations to try and force some filing into the wrong sections and be arrested by the Senate. You can also get marked by the Jedi for very different but equally completely ridiculous religious zealot murdering you with a laser sword reasons. You can be exiled by various government polities that have either found your performance too low, are blaming you for a disaster in one of the city meters, or have once again caught you doing a crime. There are a couple of avenues where you, especially with the Jedi, you can pretend to have awakened to the whisperings of the Force in order to convince Jedi masters that no, like I need to file this C3X1J in the pink folder because that is the will of the Force. If you do that enough, you can actually gain admittance into the Jedi Order as an older Padawan. They have like a special program like for adult space camp, and you can basically job switch, and that's an end state for the game.
You didn't want to have to deal with writing you then taking up a managerial role in the Jedi Order.
Is this framed as like a bad ending?
I mean, it's whatever. It depends on how you feel about the Jedi, I guess.
Okay, all right. That's cool. Bob.
Yeah, what's up?
When were you saying the reveal is that it's Mara Jade?
Somewhere midway through the game.
Okay.
Like pretty far in, but you're already starting to use force powers and everything like that. And then it's just like, boom. They've revealed, that Mandalorian helmet was even not made of the right material. It was totally fake. It got cut in half as a lightsaber.
Okay, couple questions, I suppose. One, you're just using the force powers before the reveal even?
Yeah.
And no one stops to think, now wait a minute.
No, a lot of people are like, something's not right here.
Okay.
You don't seem like a Mandalorian.
Something seems a little off about this Mandalorian.
She waves her hand. Is like, no, I totally seem like a Mandalorian.
Yes, that will absolutely be a scene.
Okay. But you said it's halfway through.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe putting it that far into the game is going to make people apprehensive to share on social media platforms that the reveal is that you're Mara Jade?
That's never stopped anyone before.
Okay, thank you. That was the question and the answer. Thank you, Bob.
Obviously, it'll be in the they're going to put it in the trailer. It's Disney.
Yeah, you'll
the
see
launch day trailer.
Right, you'll see at least half of her face after that, and be like,
oh my god, fantastic. My questioning's done.
This show has a lot of other people asking the contestants questions, but it's time to give them a chance to talk about what they want to talk about. So starting with Dan, what's the one thing you want to tell us about your game that nobody has asked about?
Look, my game is what it says on the tin. A lot of people can instantly get what it is. Very simple proposition for anyone watching a trailer for it, because it's going to include all these shots from these amazing moments. So I'd like to talk about some of the amazing moments. I want you to imagine that another world art style, the retro 2D polygon art style for the trash compactor scene, the Battle of Hoth, hiding in an asteroid, all these amazing Star Wars moments, the fight with Darth Vader, and so much more. It's going to be the trench run. It's going to be amazing. And just
Never seen the trench run in a game before.
Well, see, here's what makes ours different, okay? It's much more like the mechanical sequence in Another World, where instead of coming off as an incredibly qualified person who knows exactly what they're doing, you're just bashing buttons on the control panel to stay afloat. And if you do not do it right, you crash. It paints a mildly different picture of Luke Skywalker.
Okay, that's good to know. Bob.
Something I haven't been able to talk about enough is the different stages you'll go to. So this is a linear action game. Of course, where you go is one of the most important parts. So you're going to be going to places like Typhon, that planet we saw in The Last Jedi that has the cool salt with... It's not a frozen world. It's like covered in salt, and they go over with jet speeders, and it has a cool look to it with the red sand going over the blue salt.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be going to an asteroid field with the Exogorse, the giant worm, and they're going to have him hooked up to machines to try and make him an evil Jedi.
They're gonna hook the giant worm up to machines to make it an evil Jedi. Just to be clear, you sound like Alex Jones if he was in Star Wars.
Well, yeah, that's basically what Max Golden is.
I am looking at this image and imagining the after image where he's more red.
Yes. And most importantly, one of the earlier planets we go to is planet Tau, where we meet Lop, and she joins our party.
Oh,
So we're putting those are at the same time, I suppose?
Yeah, this is a few years after that.
Okay.
So this is a few years later. Lop's sister has been arrested by the Empire because she failed so many times, and now the Empire has just recently fallen. So she takes along with you to go look for her sister and learn more about the Force.
I see.
And as I said in my intro pitch, this is an anime-looking game, so we're just leaning heavily into that aesthetic and just stealing whatever we want from the Star Wars Vision Project. And also we could do basically anything we want because, hey, the art style, it's not entirely canon.
informative. Aggro.
So one of the strengths of this project is all of the various failure states you can reach at the end of a run. I wanted to highlight one of my favorites. See, while getting arrested or executed is always, it was big and flashy, there's oftentimes if the meters go too out of balance, you basically find a way to collapse an entire planet city's civilization. One of my very favorite versions of this is in the third main phase, when the Jedi have taken direct control of the planet. They have basically outlawed anything they consider to be immoral entertainment. This includes all sex work, all gambling, drinking, death sticks, most television, movies, and games. Basically, anything fun doesn't really jibe with their vision of quietly communing with the Force and growing in understanding. So this couples with the Jedi's fanatical need to halt all technological innovation to maintain their grip on the Republic's power structures. So economic production goes way down, poverty goes way up, and the happiness index crashes, and you basically have the entire population of Coruscant armed with sticks and like hunks of random Star Wars tech in chunks that they've broken off with those sticks and pipes, assaulting the Jedi Temple and en masse slaughtering that entire cast of warrior witch cultists.
Yeah, we kind of proved it with the Attack of the Clones. You could just shoot Jedi, like if you have enough of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That laser sword can't be everywhere.
What an answer. What a thing to tell me. And now finally, before I begin final deliberations, I'm going to need each contestant to tell me why I should pick their pitch. We're going to start with Bob. You have 15 seconds. What is your final pitch for your game?
Unlike other games in this set, mine actually has Joe Yowza. He's been turned into a horrible creature that yells at you, and you have to kill him. You get to kill Joe Yowza in my game. Does anyone else say that? There's also Super Rancor and Dewback Knights.
Okay.
What are those?
That's time. Who the is Joe Yowza?
You know that thing they added in Return of the Jedi, the weird yelling, singing alien that's covered in fur?
No, I don't.
No, yeah. Look, every time Joe Yowza is on screen, people should be asking, what the is that and what happened to Star Wars?
Man, I don't think I've ever seen the special edition of Return to the Jedi. Maybe that's a f***ing good thing if this thing is inside it. What the f*** is this?
I wish I also didn't know Joe Yowza.
Bob gets a buff for letting me kill it. Now we're gonna move on to aggro. Same deal, 15 seconds.
The Coruscant paper trail is novel, streamable, reasonably budgetable and producible, and does not contain Joe Yowza. At any point is he on screen. Never.
That's a pretty good final pitch. And lastly, but not leastly, Dan Video Games, 15 seconds.
Everyone's fucking sick of new Star Wars. Fuck new Star Wars. They don't want new Star Wars. They want the original Star Wars and nostalgia factor. Cranked to max. Also worth noting, I do not have Joe Yowza, and I was the first to say I don't have Joe Yowza.
Noted. I'm going to now take a moment to look over all this information, prepare some valuable feedback, and decide on our victor. Have returned. Aggro.
Yes, sir.
The Coruscant paper trail is fascinating. Ties into the current popularity of Andor. Papers, Please was a huge game. Darth Testament is brilliant. Your game seems easily achievable and can ship on everything. But I'm just not sure it has the $800 million return on investment that corporate's really gonna want out of a Star Wars game. Dan.
Why, hello there.
People love the original trilogy. Cynically jerking off the original trilogy seems like a recipe for success. Having a lot of pretty art tied to it that can trick people into thinking they're not just seeing the same thing again for the 100,000th time. Also smart. But at the same time, you're bringing attention to the original trilogy where Star Wars is now like Andor and the Acolyte and whatever the that show about the younglings is.
Yeah, and I'm trying to fix that. You're welcome.
A noble goal, but one that may be standing in opposition to corporate.
It's kind of, let me put it this way, okay? It's kind of like when the McDonald's sells a salad. That's us. We're the refreshing alternative option within the corporate structure.
I hate to stand up for my opponent here, but a lot of the Star Wars streaming shows are immediately after the original trilogy because they want to get as close to that as humanly possible.
I'm even closer. And a little extra.
Yes, but that's mostly because they don't want to touch the sequels.
Yes.
And lastly, Bob, Mara Jade's a fan favorite. Mandalorians are fan favorites. It's a linear action game. Easily could be made a big prestige title. It seems like the exact sort of thing that we should be doing with Star Wars. And because of that, we're afraid that it will somehow be cursed.
I knew it.
Yeah.
But now that I've given feedback, it's time to announce our winner. I've deliberated carefully. The winner of Armchair Dev's Star Wars Episode 2 is... Hold on. I'm getting a phone call.
Not again.
How's this keep happening?
I don't know.
People need to turn off their phones during these meetings.
It seems like a All Star Wars projects have been canceled. We do own all your pitches. You can't repurpose them and take them anywhere else. That is our property forever now. But unfortunately, we will not be producing any of these titles. We will, however, be doing a very cheap-looking crossover with Overwatch.
This is a shame.
Yeah, that's fair.
Eric Chahi's going to have to do a Patreon for his own completely legally distinct Dip Sith series.
Can I
comics.
at least get Mara Jade in Overwatch?
Sure, she'll be a costume for Diva.
That's the wrong choice.
Can I at least still have $800 million?
No, unfortunately.
I'm never gonna overdose on cocaine.
Joe Yowza wins again.
Never say that.
I feel like by killing all these pitches, you're actually pro Joe Yowza. Because 2 of them didn't have them and 1 of them killed him. That means you're pro Joe Yowza.
This is a burden I'm gonna have to bear. Thank you to our contestants for their amazing pitches that once again we now own in their entirety.
Don't.
And thank you for listening to Armchair Devs.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Armchair Devs. Podcasts like this and Big Think Dimension are only possible with viewer support. If you'd like to help us in the fight for good content, please show us your support over on patreon.com/gbpodcasts, where you can also listen to the extended pitches that couldn't make it into this episode. The executive producers for this month's Gigaboots videos are Spaceman Spiff, Red Blaze 27, Brendan O'Sullivan, Cooper Tank, BN12, Rado, and Virvarm. Thank you very much to our executive producers, and also these guys. If you want to become an executive producer or a normal patron, head on over to patreon.com/gigaboots today.